watchers on the couch. We are the voices that guide the realms of men. We are the Night's Watch. Hello and welcome back. I am your host, Cal the Kingslayer, and it's good to see you guys again after finally starting Game of Thrones. We are finally back as you guys caught up with the recap last week, and now we're back for talking about Season 8, Episode 1, but I can't do it alone. As always, I have my lovely co-hosts from House Odd Shape Channel, Lord Tom and Lady Kimber. Hello, guys. Can't do it alone. As always,
there's an extreme echo, buddy. I don't know if you can hear it.
Is it on me? Hello, guys. Oh, there it is me. Sorry about that. Thank you, guys. As always, it's just in stereo.
Oh God, it's not stopping.
It's a non-stop loop. Sorry about that. There it is me. Sorry about that. Thank you, guys. It's just in stereo.
Oh God, it's not stopping.
It's a non-stop loop.
How is this happening?
Oh my God.
Sorry about that. Thank you, guys. Is it over?
Yeah.
It's just like echoing on a loop. How is this happening?
Well, I turned it off, so I don't get it.
It's just like echoing. Is it on yours?
Well, I turned it off, so I don't get it.
I don't know what's happening.
This is what going mad is like.
I don't know what's happening. Yeah, it's really bad.
Let me just close my screen then.
It's even worse on the phone.
It's coming from. It came from somewhere else. Like something else is open. I don't know where. Is it over now? So when you guys muted, it's over. Was it you guys?
Tom.
We've been on mute this whole time. How's it been us?
No, when I said hello to you guys.
It was on mute for like 30 seconds before I did anything.
Oh no, that was me earlier, but then like just now, I think it was you guys after the fact. Because like when you guys went on mute, then it stopped echoing. Because I had it on my YouTube, then I muted right when you guys told me.
I don't know. I was on mute.
Well, that was good. But let me go ahead and say hi to everybody in the chat. We got Kimber, Jeff, Billy, Eric, Delisha, Randall, Rain, Joyce, welcome. Elise, how are you? And I think that's what we got. Yep. All right. Well, that was awesome. That was that's the mayhem that's going to come up this season on Game of Thrones. We'll give you a preview of the battle sounds, just so you guys want to hear what it sounded like. But yeah, before we get started into the show, just a quick thought. How did you guys feel actually seeing the opener, like, the music going off and how crazy it was different? But before we go, yeah, so what do you guys think about that?
The opener was dope. I was mad that we didn't have the cold open that I wanted, but as soon as I saw that they actually updated the map, because that was a big complaint we had last season, it wasn't updated maps. It was really cool. And like you were just, every time they went into a new place, you were like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, it's the type of thing where if you wait 500 days for a show to come back and they are known for updating the intro occasionally, you would hope that they would spend the time and do it. And this was like the coolest update on the intro yet. I loved every minute of it. Like there was a lot of little details. I was just on articles like all week making sure that I didn't miss anything, even though we did like just notice a lot of it from watching the episode. But it was really cool, like all the little details on like the astrolabe and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah, that astrolabe was cool, as well as just like going into little castles, right? Going into the castle and seeing like everything pop up inside too. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people in the chat saying they enjoyed the they really enjoyed the opening as well. But as we normally open our show, we have a few name days to mention. So we have to say happy name day to Nicole from After Talk. It was her birthday this past Saturday, and happy birthday to Elise as well, who's actually here. Elise, happy birthday to you. Happy name day, I should say to you. It was her name day yesterday, so happy name day from here, us here at the Night's Watch. The next segment that we talk about is Take the Black segment. So like we said, if you ever purchase a Night's Watch shirt, the one that Kimber, the lovely Kimber, is wearing right now, she's sporting, lock it up. And we will feature you on the show. So the first person on this season that we featured is Arrington, as you guys know as Phoenix YouTube. That's Arrington, and he is rocking the Night's Watch shirt. So thank you, Arrington, for supporting the channel and show. All right. Well, so I guess now we can get started. We're going to be talking about Season 8, Episode 1, Winterfell, which took forever. I don't know what you guys thought, but it took forever for the title to, like, I looked ahead on HBO, I looked ahead on IMDb and all that. The title never showed up and didn't show up until the next day. Even while I was watching it live, I was watching it live. I had to watch it later because my plane was stuck. And people are sending me texts like, oh my God. I'm like, don't tell me anything. I'm on a plane. I can't watch it yet. Stupid flight got delayed and everything. I even paid for like quicker boarding just so I can get my bag on. And everything I thought of ahead of time. Got an earlier flight. Still was foiled by the gods. But yeah, so they didn't give us the title. I guess HBO was saying really secretive about it. But the episode starts off with a young boy trying to look through a crowd. Now, you guys can stop me whenever if you guys hear a callback that I missed. But this is a callback to basically Arya looking out at the soldiers coming down, or the troop, or whatever you call it, the convoy coming down from King's Landing on the King's Road towards Winterfell when Robert Baratheon and his whole harem, or whatever you call them.
Yeah, it's also reminiscent of Bran kind of climbing up the side of the building and stuff. It's really cool. They did a lot of stuff that mirrored the old episodes.
So he does get a better look. And then we have Arya watching on, but she does not greet Jon, but she also sees the Hound and Gendry, and she's also in awe of the dragons. And Sansa yet looks quite concerned when they come, the dragons at least. Once they get in to the castle, we do see another kind of callback when Jon leaves the castle and Bran is in like the coma or whatever he is. He kisses his forehead just like this, and that's when he first sees Bran kisses his forehead. They're also lined up very similar to how the Stark family was lined up. And even like the Master of Arms, Sir Roderick Castle, was in a spot that Sir Royce, who kind of looks like him, was in that spot as well. It was very, very like a mirror image of the pilot to this opening of season 8. It's very similar. So that was like a callback to hit the goodbye. And as I was talking about the lineup there, it's very similar, except obviously, some people are missing. Jon asked, "Where's Arya?" Just like Ned asked, "Where's your sister?" Very similar to that as well. Then it's quickly broken up because Jon, Bran, being the creepy dude he is, looks over to Daenerys and goes, "We have to hurry. The Night King broke through the wall, and he has one of your dragons." So all the pleasantries are now thrown out the window, and we have to get to business. So to business they get, and that usually leads to the talk in the Great Hall, where now people are questioning Jon's status because he's no longer a king. He has first Sansa orders Lord Umber, whose name now is Ned Umber, the little boy from last season, to get his men back from the last hearth. So he leaves, and then Lyanna Mormont. They also tell everyone from the Night's Watch to come back from Castle Black because there's no point in guarding the wall since the wall is destroyed. Lyanna Mormont then starts complaining to Jon's status that he's no longer a king. You left a king, but you came back. I don't even know what you are anymore. Jon says, "I never really wanted this. I came back. I always put the North first. I don't care for a crown. I did this so I can protect the North. That's all that's mattered to me ever." Tyrion tries to bolster support for him because, obviously he needs Dany to get support. So he's saying, you guys are alive, or if anybody, whoever survives will be alive because Jon Snow brought us to you guys. But the lords and lady of, I think there's only one lady besides Sansa, talking about Lyanna Mormont, they're not very receptive to Tyrion's pleas. Also the fact that he said Lannister men are coming. So that wasn't too, didn't really fall well on the ears of the lords and ladies of Winterfell, or the North, I should say. The next scene saw Tyrion talking to Sansa, and Sansa is very, very sharp-witted. Like we see that she's really become very sharp-witted and all that. And she says she believes Tyrion to be a fool because she trusts Cersei's promise, and she jabs at him by saying, I thought you used to be the smartest person ever in the world or the Seven Kingdoms, and now I know that's not to be true. And then another weird thing happens. Tyrion looks down and sees Bran looking up at him, and they exchange a look. Now that look, if you think about back last season, what we say is like, I don't know how many of us said this, but like I was like, when Tyrion meets with Cersei, the scene cuts. She goes, "Oh my God, you're pregnant," or whatever, and the scene cuts. And Tyrion loves to put his family first. So did he strike a bargain with Cersei then, and now Bran knows about it because Bran could see everything? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Oh, I had a very different take on this. But
to answer your question, I think a bargain was struck, but the moment that he talks to his brother, he's going to know that bargain's off the table. So,
also, Tom pointed out that Alice Karstark is probably amongst the lords and ladies, so there's at least another lady. I also wanted to say that the intro with them coming in, like Dany and Jon and them all coming in, the last time we heard that music was actually when King Robert was coming in with all of his people in the first episode too. So that was something cool that they did with the score that was like a shout out to that episode. My new thing with Tyrion and Sansa, and I've been on this for a while, is I think that they're going to end up ruling together. This is my endgame team for who I would like to see on the throne. And I have a lot of reasons for this, but I'm not going to get into it too heavy unless you guys want me to, because I don't want to get like spoilery in any kind of potential way. But I have a lot of reasons that I think that it might end up with those two. So in my head, when Bran is staring at those two, to me, it's like signaling to, eagle-eyed fans that maybe there's something with this pair that we should be paying attention to.
And his expression is like a mix between confused and hopeful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because usually he's just like blank Bran. But like he has like a little glint in his eye here.
Yeah, and it's funny. They actually had a meme of like did you guys send? I don't know if you guys sent it to me or if I saw it on Twitter, where it was like the moment you see your brother like and you missed him after all time, then it's like then the moment you realize he's crazy because Jon's face is like all weird after he kisses Bran. It's just funny the meme that they started making for Bran. But if people in the chat people are saying Lyanna Mormont's still killing it. Winterfell is yours. That's another callback when Sansa says that to Dany. Jon's kiss mirroring the farewell kiss. Yep, that was great as well. Welcome Delisha as well. Tyrion gave Bran that gift in season 1 so he could ride a horse.
Yeah, there's another one too, because what Dany says to Sansa about like, oh, the North is beautiful and so are you, is damn near exactly what Cersei said to her when she first met her. So they really like did a good job trying to incorporate some shout outs to like season 1 in here particularly.
Let's also remember too that Bran's the only one who knows what happened. Well, I guess besides Reek, who knows what happened to Sansa. So when he's watching Sansa like that, I don't know. It's hard because
not just being creepy about that again. Still, I like my theory, so I'm gonna stick with that one.
Yeah, well, we are gonna get it's still a little time away, but we do. I know Tom has a theory as well for the end game, and that's gonna be one of our polls coming up. I guess in our second to last episode of Night's Watch. Who do you see on the Iron Throne? Like first see on the Iron Throne, and we get everyone's thoughts on that. Blessed be Dr. Bran Hatton and his many meme opportunities. Yeah, there's a lot of great callbacks. I would have to applaud the writers, right? To look back at all the stuff from season 1 to look at, because I'm sure writers have changed since then. Well, another reunion besides the one we had with Jon and Bran, we had him on the Godswood and reuniting with Arya. So we see him and Arya together hugging, and then they have a little conversation. And they talk about their swords, and then Arya is defending Sansa, which we don't really usually see because they didn't really get along that well when they were younger. But she's like, Jon says, you of all people defending Sansa. He goes, well, she's just trying to look out for what's best for our family. And he goes, that's what I am too. And she goes, well, make sure you remember that. And they embrace. Meanwhile, over at King's Landing, Qyburn tells Cersei that the dead have destroyed the wall. And she's like, good. I think she says good. And then Euron has returned from Essos with the Golden Company. minus the elephants, because that was a huge thing. Everyone was like, I remember saying this like last season, and I think maybe last week as well. You said, "Oh, I can't wait to see the elephants," and I think a lot of people were excited to see the elephants. And Cersei kind of gave us the same reaction, like, "Wait, no elephants? That's a pity. I really wanted to see elephants." So that was another fun thing. But before they actually meet inside the throne room, we see Euron talking to Yara. So he finally confirmed that Yara is still alive and a captive. And he goes, "I can't kill you because who else can I talk to?" And then she tells him that you've chosen the wrong side. So in the throne room, Euron, they talk about the whole Golden Company and the elephant situation, and Euron saying, "Oh, I might have killed one or two because they cheated in dice, or maybe I cheated in dice," and all that. I don't know this guy's name. Did you guys catch his name or anything like that?
They said it, but I don't remember it, honestly.
Well, whatever his name is, the Golden Company leader, he leaves. He bids adieu, and then Cersei. Then Euron complains, saying, "Hey, listen, you made me a promise." She goes, "After the war is won, wars take years." He's like, "Well, you showed me no affection. You're breaking my heart." So you see her turn around, meaning like, "You're welcome to follow me." And then Euron follows Cersei, and then we'll see what happens in a few moments. Harry Strickland, thank you, Eric, and welcome about Dia. Then we see a scene in the brothel with Bronn and 3 prostitutes, and Qyburn interrupts them and says, "Cersei has a job for you, and you'll get everything you're promised because Jaime's the one who retracted his promise to you." And he orders Bronn to kill Jaime and Tyrion in the same poetic way that Tyrion killed their father, using a crossbow. We then see Euron in after post-coitus with Cersei, and this makes me ask you guys: did Cersei sleep with Euron to provide cover for her incestuous baby, much like she did with Robert?
I think Cersei slept with Euron because she can't really afford to lose his support right now, because he really has gotten a lot of things done for her. So I think it's more about that. There are a lot of people who think she might have possibly miscarried because she's drinking again on the show, which a lot of people noticed, as well as the look that she gave him when he said, "I'm going to put a prince in your belly," because to me it didn't look like, "Oh, I'm going to scam this dude and make him think it's his baby." To me it looked like she was disappointed or sad. So what about you?
I agree. He's just so unlike Jaime. Maybe that's what she needs right now.
Well, see, I don't know. Like, did she actually drink the wine? Because I know she put it to her lips, but like when she takes it away, her lips are pursed, so she's not really drinking.
Why?
And then you see her hold it for the rest of the time.
Isn't, but why bother with the wine if you're not going to drink it?
And we have to assume that it's been some time as well, and he saw her naked and she didn't look pregnant, so that might be another sign that something is up. So
yeah,
how long did it take to get up to Winterfell by horse in winter?
No, because he went to go get the Golden Company. He had to go all the way up.
I'm talking about Jaime getting the Winterfell. I'm using that as a...
Oh, that probably wouldn't take as long as it would take to go get the Golden Company.
I know I'm saying, but that's the last time we knew she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Or...
Well, I think I did the math, and it was like 6 days. 6 to 7 days. Because if a horse rides 10 miles per hour, right? I'm saying like average 10 miles per hour, because like they could run a lot faster than that and stuff like that. So it's only 1,000 miles. So that'll be 100 hours, 5 days, less than 5 days. So I'd say 6 days to a week. I don't know why I
hard to say with timelines on this show, but usually they tend to jump a little more forward than that. But like, it's really impossible to tell at this point. They haven't given us.
They might tell us exactly how long it is.
All right. So as I bring up some more images, all right, let's see. I'll go to about here, and then I'll stop again. All right, here we go. So the next image we have is, while that's all happening aboard Euron's ship, Silence, Theon comes, makes another heroic save. I mean, his first, I guess, heroic save. Her second heroic moment, because last time he fought off that other guy. Saves Yara. Yara knocks him out, says, "Let's go." Then their eyes are sailing away. She's heading back to Pike because, or the Iron Islands, because that she believes Dany needs a way, somewhere to retreat to in case the dead do take over. But Theon says, I want to go back and help, return to Winterfell and help the Starks. And she bids him, she says, what is dead may never die, but kill them anywhere, whatever she says to him. So that was a nice moment too. So Theon finally gonna go fight for maybe what his rightful family is. Back at Winterfell, House Karstark returns with their army, and meanwhile, these three advisors are all discussing whether or not a proposal should be in line for Dany and Jon. Dany and Jon Dany finds out that the dragon's not eating, so they go there to check it out. They don't like the cold, it turns out. And then Jon mounts the dragon, and then they fly away together. Jon is actually riding Rhaegal, who's named after his father, which we'll find out in a little while. They end up landing at a waterfall cave, which is much like a callback to the one that he went to with Ygritte. And that was a nice moment between the two. And she says, make sure you find a way to keep your queen warm. And what did you guys think of the look the dragon gave, what Drogon gave him? Did you guys thought that was weird, or was did you laugh at that?
We laughed at it. I'm just happy I'm so happy Ghost got so much screen time this episode.
I thought it was funny. There were a lot of hilarious memes this episode already. So I can't wait to see, I don't know, I'm a sucker for that stuff. I was sending them to Delisha and Janine and stuff. It was funny. A lot of people comparing it to how your dog gets or your cat gets when you're trying to get intimate with your partner, and that's totally the vibe that they gave off. It was pretty fun.
All right. Okay. So he does give her the weird look, and we cut back to Winterfell, where Gendry makes an axe out of dragon glass, and that causes a little reunion again with Arya and the Hound, as well as Arya and Gendry, and she asks him to fashion something for him, which is a dragon. I got a screenshot of it. It's a dragon glass dagger, but with a special, hilt. It is. Any ideas of what that could be for? Obviously they fight White Walkers, but why not just use a normal dragon glass dagger? Why have one with a special hilt?
Because she needs to make a spear for that zombie Drago.
Yeah, Tom thinks it looks like a harpoon.
Oh, so how does she know about it though?
Didn't they talk about it?
Because they said it, yeah. Bran said it in front of everybody.
She was lurking somewhere. She was probably
I was just saying, 'cause she wasn't there, so.
Well,
yeah,
she wasn't there. It's Arya.
We don't know how long Bran's known. It's his sister. He might have told her off screen,
Oh yeah. Also, yeah. It could also be the Stark family does have amazing hearing, because remember when Sansa heard my dogs have been fed in days or whatever, and she wasn't anywhere to be found. So maybe it's just some superpower that the Starks do possess.
I think that their superpower is having off-screen discussions that don't all need to be on screen.
Also, cold immunity.
Cold immunity.
Okay, so that brings us to another, possible. Oh wait, Sansa. Oh, this is where Sansa talks to Jon about, I think, the Glovers not getting away from Deepwood Mott, and saying that House Glover will not join the war. And she questions Jon's motives. Is he doing it because he thinks Dany's hot, or is he really doing it for the North? Then we get to one of the most heart-wrenching moments. Welcome Slayerman as well, and Arrington. Arrington, your picture was here earlier today in this episode, so if you want to go back and check it out, it was featured earlier. Probably one of the most heart-wrenching moments. I don't know. I think someone might have tweeted this or something, that a funnier meme of this, but this is pretty bad. Dany comes to thank Samwell Tarly for curing Jorah, and he's like, well, I need a pardon or two because, I stole some books from the Citadel. And the second thing is I stole Heartsbane from my family Tarly. And then she's like, wait, you mean Randall Tarly? He goes, yeah, I burned him. And she goes, oh, well, that's fine. At least I can go back to my brother's going to be Lord of the Hornhill. So I think it's Hornhill. So I can go back. And she goes, I kind of burned him too. And then he feels he's like breaking down, crying, and he's like, thank you. Like, what can he say to a queen? He's like, thank you, Your Grace, and then I take my leave. And And she's like, yeah. And then you just see the look that they give each other, Dany and Jorah. So what are your thoughts on this?
Oh yeah, this broke my heart for sure. Like, you know how I feel about the situation. I think that Dany did the right thing for how the Tarleys reacted in the situation she gave them. You give them an ultimatum. They know what's going to happen if they choose not to side with her, and it happened. She has to go through with promises. She has to be strong. So I think she did the right thing, but I don't think she knew what she was getting herself into with this conversation. To her, that wasn't even on her radar to be thinking about the Tarleys. She was just going to thank this guy who saved Jorah and was totally blindsided by the fact that he was a Tarley, and she's just now realizing that she like killed this kid's whole family. And we love Sam. Sam is one of the sweetest and best characters on the show. So to see him hurt like that, it was painful. And he did such a good job, the actor, in his performance here. Like, it hurt me bad to watch him crying. Like, I've never seen him like in a state like that, just like emotional pain. And I think he could have lived with it. When you have a parent you have issues with, yes, it would be hurtful to hear that he passed away like that with all these unresolved things between them. But I think he would have been okay had he not also lost his brother, who we're going to assume he's maybe been a little bit jealous of in his life, but who is a good person to him and he did love. So.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that brings us to him walking out and being interrupted by Bran saying, I was waiting for an old friend. And I think that's how he greets Sam when Sam first gets to Winterfell. And he goes, now's the time you tell Jon about his heritage. Because I'm not his brother, you are, and he'll trust you. Then we're seen at Last Hearth, which is the home of the Umbers, and Tormund and Beric and some other knights, some other people who are manning the wall, I guess could be wildlings, manning the wall Eastwatch, arrive here, and they are met up by someone who says, oh my god, his eyes are blue, watch out. He goes, my eyes have always been blue. And it's Dolorous Ed and the men from Castle Black, the Night's Watch. He goes, they exchange some pleasantries, and then goes, have you found anyone else alive? And shows Ned Umber in the put up on the wall, on that wall, I mean, not the wall, a wall, and the same design that you see that the White Walkers have been using, and that you saw the Children of the Forest use back in season 4, possibly, I think it was, this kind of like spiral look. All of a sudden, you knew it was coming. They zoom up on Tormund's face and have Ned in the background, his eyes open, pale blue. He starts to attack or reach for Tormund, and Beric lights him on fire, and you see a nice view. Kind of looks like the Targaryen sigil, sort of, but there's only 3-headed dragon. But that was a crazy look. I thought it was pretty cool.
In the opposite direction too.
Yeah.
That also mirrored in the first episode with the little White Walker girl that was on the tree as well. So that was cool.
Thought I had another picture in here. Let me make sure. For what I thought would be the most important scene, I thought I definitely had a picture for it. Maybe I didn't. Well, I guess I didn't. I thought I put a picture in. Must have got deleted or shifted somewhere. But that's the image of Jon going down, paying homage to his father's statue in the Winterfell crypt. And Sam comes down and tells him, listen, like, you shouldn't have gave up your kinghood or whatever kingship. He goes, I don't care. I don't want to be the king of the north. It's like, not the king of the north, king of the 7 bloody kingdoms. And he tells him he reveals the truth. Something that people that the R+ Elders have been known or speculating for a really long time. And then what then we found out last season or season prior to that with season finale of season 6, they showed the baby and it fuses to Jon's face. Then we see the wedding in season 7 finale. So that was, and then Jon's like, that's treason. Don't talk like that. And he goes, well, you bent the knee to her to say, will she do it for you when she knows that you're the true king of the 7 kingdoms? And they actually say that he's Aegon the 6th. So it's confirmed that he's Aegon the 6th. Finally, we see probably the most loved character in Game of Thrones return to Winterfell as he takes off the horse. And we get that look from Bran saying, finally, I can thank you for trying to save me from falling out the window. So maybe the next episode we'll get the the thank you for saving me, or thank you for being a friend discussion. You know, the one that launched the whole show. Yeah, well, if it wasn't for Jamie, we wouldn't have a show. That's how you gotta look at it. But yeah, so if we go back to the reveal, what do you guys feel about the reveal?
Oh, about the parentage?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was a little rushed through, but I feel like that's kind of almost more realistic. Like, no one's going to spell it out for you in real life, so.
Yeah, I liked that for the most part we just saw it with like a voiceover and shot right at John's face too, so that you're just getting John's reaction, because like we already know the information that we're going to get here, and what we want to see is how John is going to react. So I thought that this part of the episode was beautifully directed, but I'm with Tom. I did think it was a little rushed, and unfortunately when they're trying to get so much information into one episode, to have a moment that big, it just kind of ends up being one of many moments that were really big in the episode. Just like the ending, like you were talking about with Jamie, that's a big moment too. That easily in another season would have been the big moment of the episode. So there was just a lot of that, just like John riding the dragon, where it's like it almost gets undermined because there's so many like big wow moments in this episode.
Eric also points out that this all happens in front of Ned, who said to John, "Next time you see me, I'll tell you about your parentage."
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
Tom earlier in the episode when Bran was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for an old friend," he knew exactly what that was. He was immediately like, Jamie. So that was pretty cool that he called that like half an hour or whatever before that was like the reveal of that moment.
Because it kind of feels like in that moment he's talking to Sam like, "Oh, I'm just here waiting for you. It's time, blah, blah, blah." But I'm like, no, he's talking about Jamie.
And Joy says he really didn't know nothing about John. He's always the last to know. See, I do agree with you. I'm on the same foot. Like, you guys, it's good. Like, they did say it. Like, Tom is right. It did seem the most realistic way of saying it. But I felt very underwhelmed at the reveal. Because, you know, like, they did have a huge reveal for, like, everything else, for the voiceovers and with, like, the flashbacks and all that, and the musical score. This was just, like, flat out most realistic. So I felt very underwhelmed by a lot of the things that happened in this episode. I really did enjoy the episode, but I felt like the big moments were very underwhelming. But like you said, that's probably because there's so many big moments. Just like if you think of, like, wrestling, they always say there's supposed to be one main event, but if they schedule it as five, they, you know, to sell it more, they sell, 3 main events or co-main events. Kind of takes away the luster of the main event. So I feel it's the same thing about this. Like, I was kind of underwhelmed with John's first riding of the dragon, some of the reunions as well, and obviously this final heritage talk. So I do agree with you guys. It's a little bit underwhelming, but it seemed like the most realistic way of doing it.
Yeah, I thought Jamie was funny too, trying to ride into town like people aren't going to recognize him. That never works out for him. Somebody always recognizes him, and it was kind of comedic that like the second he gets there, there's Bran like, "Oh, hi." He went full Strider.
Yeah, I was about to say,
went full Strider.
Kimber has stopped calling him Jamie when we watch it. She just calls him Strider.
I don't know. Jamie, I'm telling you, it's going to be a nice warm welcome. But I guess we'll talk about what happens next week, because, you know, that's how the preview for next week shows that. And then the new poll is up. We're going to get to this week's poll in a second, but next week's poll is already up. And that question they posed, what will Jamie's I guess, well, I think what's the sentencing for Jamie or whatever. I forgot the exact wording for it, but it's up right now over on the Night's Watch Tube Twitter. So talking about such great heroes like Jamie Lannister, we must move on to our Who is Your Champion? So who is your champion this week? I will go to Tom first. Tom, who is your champion?
Probably... It's probably Sam. No. Probably Bran.
Why Bran?
I'm gonna go Bran. Cause like he's us. He's just watching everything and like speculating on how it's gonna go down, and he already knows some people are gonna die, and like just to see him react to like the little things going on, because he got to like watch like 4 conversations that we know about. So that was fun, and I'm enjoying all the memes, and like he's like moving shit along. He's like, "Nope, we got to worry about the dead. Don't don't worry about it. And then he's like, no, you got to go tell John. Like, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be getting any of this information until episode 4.
That is very true. Kimber, who is your champion?
My champion is probably Sansa in this episode because, like, finally we're getting to see true Sansa, who has been smart this whole time, but now she's smart and she's confident and outspoken, which is the big difference between her character. And, like, all this shit is going down, and this girl still has, like, the balls to, like, you know, get a dig in at Dany or, like, point out to Tyrion, like, how ignorant he's being in that situation. So I liked her in this one, and she was one of the more interesting parts for me, so I'm going to go ahead and choose Sansa here.
Yeah, so in the chat, Rochelle, aka Joy, likes your choice of Bran, and Delisha agrees with you. Sansa was her pick as well for champion of the week. I do agree Sansa was a great pick, but just I think for the first time ever, I want to have most of the time, two of us agree on the same champion. So I'm going to make it all different this week, and my champion of the week is none other than, I'm not going to say Jaime because that's too easy. He's always champion in my heart. I'm going to say Theon, because Theon finally got some redemption, saving Yara. But more importantly, he says, I want to go back and fight for the Starks of Winterfell. So, I know not many people are fans of Theon, but I like to see him go back and get some of his honor back. And that was great to see. But with the good, there always must come the bad. So this week, we're going to start with Kimber. And remember to pause for the shame bell. Who is getting your shame bell of the week?
I'm going to have to shame somebody who is absolutely, like, in my top 3 characters of all time. He's, like, my dude, and this hurts me, but I have to shame Tyrion Lannister because
Shame.
And it's for the exact reasons that Sansa was pointing out, that it's ridiculous for him to think that in any way he should trust what Cersei's telling him. And, like, while Sansa's very smart to immediately be skeptical, it does suck to see Tyrion, who was at the beginning of the show one of the smartest people on the board, to blindly trust her. And I know that he's, like, under a lot of stress and things are going down, but trusting Cersei, especially when she's this powerful and unhinged, is ridiculous to me. So Tyrion.
All right, Tom, who is your shame bell going to?
Braun.
Okay.
Shame. Why is Braun getting your shame bell?
He's going to go no scope 360 his friends.
No scope. Yes. You really think he's gonna go? You really think he's gonna go through with that or no?
Well, here's the thing. It might be a false lead, but the actors said that fans will not like Braun this season.
Ooh.
So far, he's right.
All right, and as for me, we're gonna actually do, like, I feel like Tyrion's one of Kimber's favorites. Braun is one of Tom's favorites. We're gonna go with one of my favorites. If someone's gonna get the shame bell, and that is Jon Snow. Shame. And the reason why I'm giving Jon Snow my shame bell is because I felt like he's more of, like, a comedic relief this episode. How he rode the dragons, and then the whole dragon staring at him thing. And all that kind of stuff, I feel like he's been, like, more of, like, comedic relief. Why is my camera not focusing? Focus.
Because you assumed the King of the North.
Yeah, I know. I shamed the King. And, like, I don't know. I feel like more people are, like, guiding him than he is guiding them. So for me this week, I know it's going to change. But right now, Jon is getting my shame bell of the week because I just feel like he's more like him. He was very much like. And this is going to be a weird analogy, but I think only Billy will appreciate this. And welcome, Halo, as well. I think Billy's going to enjoy this allusion. I think he's very much like Batman in the Justice League, where Batman was kind of like giving stupid jokes throughout the movie, making him seem like, I like Clark too, like, kind of thing like that. Like, that's how he seemed in this episode. For someone who's supposed to be like a stoic, like, what do you call it? What is he always doing?
Brooding
character.
He's getting laid, Cal.
What?
He's getting laid
now.
Oh, that is true. Maybe that's what it is. But no, but he was still getting laid by Egret, so I don't know. But that wraps up our champions and shame bells. So our next segment.
Oh, can I have an honorary shame bell?
Yep. I have to shame it. Give me a second.
Stannis.
Hold on. Shame. Shane says why? For not showing up?
Yeah, he's running out of time to show up. Eric has been saying
he's going to make the moment for Eric. The music is swell, and after that, whoever sits on the Iron Throne at the end of the season, he's going to come and stab them from behind and take the Iron. He's going to come as a shadow and take the throne. That's how the Game of Thrones ends. I spoiled it for all you people. But okay, so let's go to our next segment, which is we're having a return from somebody. But let me introduce the segment first, because I hear that noise in the background. It can only mean one thing. So that sound means it is a raven from Castle Black. And we had the return of, if you guys remember from last season, we had a very special person who supported us greatly throughout last season. And, not only did he purchase a shirt, but he's always there tweeting us, supporting us throughout the way. And we named him the Maester of Night's Watch. He did a wonderful job of being there for us all the time. Then he had to go away across the narrow sea. He followed his heart across the narrow sea to Essos, where he's calling live from Essos. So he went from Castle Black to Essos. Welcome, our Maester, Jeff. Welcome back, Jeff.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back, finally.
Everything's going good there over in Essos. How are the elephants doing? First, let's know how the elephants are doing over there.
Well, the elephants are beautiful. They're doing just fine. They didn't want to get on the ships. That was the problem. I didn't know she was going to freak out that much about it, but she did.
Would you have do differently to take the elephants? No.
Just bigger ships.
Bigger ships.
Just bigger ships.
All right, so I guess that brings us. But
it's very hot here in Essos.
That is true. So the dragons would like it. They left Essos before, but now they might want to go back. So if you guys know what our rating from Castle Black is, or weekly poll. So what did our poll talk about this week, Jeff, and how did it turn out?
Well, the scroll just finally got here. It took that raven forever to get here, by the way. So the weekly poll was whose reunion with John would give the most feels. And Eric wrote in with a comment that was actually my pick as well, saying that Ghost, and Tom, you were saying this earlier too. Although I have heard from my little birds that Ghost is going to appear this season. Is that correct?
He's supposed to.
I have heard from another little bird that there's a theory that he's finding his long-lost sister in the woods.
Oh.
I heard that he's that coat that Daenerys is wearing, so who knows?
Oh!
That's horrific. No. No.
Not only has Jeff become the Maester of, while he's over in Essos, he's become the Master of Whispers as well.
Yes,
the spider.
I've been busy.
Little bird.
I've been busy.
Yes.
Yeah. So the results of the poll were 10% said that Sam would be the most emotional reunion, and it turned out not quite that way. I had hoped for more with that one. Bran received 15% of the vote. And I really loved that the way that he kissed him mirrored the way that he had to say goodbye to him, with Catelyn right there giving him the most evil glare ever. The way that he kissed him on the forehead to say goodbye. So that one was good for me too. But the overwhelming majority of everybody that voted said that Arya would be the most important.
So,
and in truth, I did tear up when that happened. It was
so is that how it lined up for you as well? Like, for you, is that the most? Or it could be any, it doesn't have to be any of those.
It was actually. It was. I was sitting here with my wife, and I started tearing up immediately. I knew she was going to be there before he turned around and saw her. So that was the most important one for me, especially in regards to the way that she said, don't forget that this is your family. I think that wasn't just a throwaway line. I think that was an important line.
Kimber, do you agree with that? Is that for who was your most feels?
Yeah, Arya was my choice, and just like we were talking about how we loved Bran with the kiss on the forehead with their reunion, they also did a similar thing because Jon, when he was saying goodbye to her, like did the pick her up move. So I guess Jon just like says goodbye and hello the same way all the time because he was doing it this episode all over the place. But it has to be those two. They always had the most connection. I think everyone's really been waiting to see them together. It's crazy to think about that they haven't done a scene together since season 1. It was beautiful. It was emotional. I loved it.
Is Sir Pets in the background?
Yeah.
Well, and he gave her the sword then, right?
Yeah.
So it just, it lined up really well. I mean, it's weird that I got more emotional over like Jorah and Sam's reunion more than like John's, but like it was a different type of emotion. But yeah, I mean, not human.
Welcome to Bubba as well. Sorry if I missed you earlier. For me, I thought it'd be Arya too, but like I said, I found that lackluster. I really enjoyed the moment that Bran and John had because the kiss that called back to how he left him and that Jeff was saying earlier as well. But the Arya moment, everyone's gonna love John and Arya because I don't think they've seen each other since the pilot or since episode 2 of season 1. So that was a long time. That was a long time. So that was no matter what, that's always gonna be in our hearts. That was a great moment. I would like to change our champion because now I'd have to give our champion to Jeff for actually having a scroll from the Raven, having it all nicely written out. So Jeff is now my champion of the week. That was a great prop to have. I wasn't expecting that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But yeah, all in all. So before we wrap up, I'm gonna go through you guys. But you kind of heard my thoughts. So I felt like it was a great episode, but I felt like some of the key moments are underwhelming. Kind of keying what Kimber said about there being so many moments that why you can get the feeling. So I'm gonna go to Jeff first. Overall thoughts of the season opener, Winterfell?
I really enjoyed it. I did. I think that we have gotten a little bit spoiled when it comes to big moments and big reveals. And I think that over the course of a year and a half, our expectations justifiably have risen. And so we expect a masterpiece each time. If they don't lay the groundwork, especially after a year and a half, then I think that the emotional payoff would have been less later on. So I really enjoyed this episode a lot.
All right. Kimber, same question.
I just want to say that Bubba Hotep in the chat is saying that Danny's giving him like Mad Queen vibes, and I was on that all last season, but I was telling Tom earlier, would it not F your head completely up that instead of making Danny go Mad Queen at the end, they did it to John? Just drink that in. Think about that.
Oh.
So I did like this opener. I thought it was really nostalgic, which is something that they're really digging into with this last season because they're like, hey, this is like the end of an era. Game of Thrones is winding down. I think a lot of the issues that people had with it had to do with, one, that it's the opener, and two, that they don't have that much time left. So they're really ramming in a ton of information as fast as they can because they only have 5 more weeks to finish the story. And really, it doesn't seem like enough time for me. That's one of my main concerns, is that I'm hoping that they can get everything in that they need to before this amazing show ends. It has a huge legacy, and they cannot mess up this season.
I can't think of a
lot of pressure.
I can't think of a single loose end, though. I feel like the first episode was to wrap everything up, and now the next 5 episodes, each one's going to be like a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there are loose ends. The Night King is still out. Who's going to live? Who's going to die?
That's like the Emperor. You know what I mean? Like, they're out there. It doesn't mean like it's like it needs to be a wrapped up thing for the story to progress.
But yeah, they're bringing everyone together, and like Tom said, they did get a lot of the stuff that they needed to get out of the way out of there, and now we got to ride for 5 more weeks.
Yeah, so I agree with you too, because Halo's saying the same thing. She felt like nothing happened. It's frustrating, but remember, Dragons don't open the same way. Very like laying the stones and everything and laying the pieces on the table, and then it's gonna be a mad rush from there. Now, I think the other last thing, then 1 or 2 more episodes, so they had time to like break off for a slow episode. But I think it's gonna be boom, 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 boom. Because we saw anything in the preview, it seems like there's gonna be a war in the next episode, or at least the start of the war next episode. So it's coming, and it's gonna be fast. And welcome to Vicky as well. Thank you for joining, Vicky. Tom, you look like you're about to say something?
Yeah, I do have a theory. What if the army was going after Winterfell, but what if the Night King just bypassed and went straight to King's Landing on the dragon? They did it in the Whispering Woods.
Yeah, so the army
would make
goes
sense,
one
wouldn't
way.
it?
The army goes one way, but the Night King goes to. Because remember, we did see a dragon fly
Yeah.
over. Remember the quick vision that Bran had? That could be just the sole dragon flying over King's Landing, and that could be the Night King's dragon as well.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't even considered that the silhouette of that dragon was the dragon that the Night King had.
that could be it. See how's Channel throwing swerves at you guys, left and right. A lot of people are talking about the books, and they're saying they hope the next book comes out this fall. I'm actually reading the Targaryen one right now, Fire and Blood. A lot of great backstory to that, learning about a lot of like Jaehaerys and all those other Targaryen rulers that you've seen, or at least heard their names possibly if you are a huge fan. Maybe not so as much, but you can hear a lot of, Dany always says she's first of her name, but there was another Dany prior to her. So, I mean, maybe first ruler in her name. I don't know how they go by that, but there are other Danys in the past. So it's just
Rhaenyra's the coolest.
Who? Rhaena? That one?
Rhaenyra.
Is that the one is that Aenys' daughter or wife? Or I forget.
Just Google her. She's awesome.
All right, I will look her up. All right. Yeah, so I guess that is how we're going to wrap things up. But before we wrap up, I want to thank Jeff for making this whole episode was about coming back home to Winterfell for like John and a bunch of others. So I want to thank Jeff, our Maester, for returning home back to the Night's Watch. Thank you for coming back, doing a wonderful job, and you'll be
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
every week. But before you can do that, let's tell people where they can find you. As you can see, his Twitter is up here somewhere.
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure what it's at JMasterPoet. And I haven't had a chance to spend as much time on there as I used to, but we're hopefully going to be able to get back into that soon.
All right, and we'll go over to House Oddshaped channel, Lord Tom and Lady Kimber.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and stuff at Oddshaped Channel.
We also have a channel on YouTube with a bunch of stuff about pop culture called Oddshaped Channel, and you can find us there. I recently started my own true crime and spooky stuff and conspiracies type channel, and you can get to that at YouTube/Kimber Bennis. And my handle on everything else is at Kimberbatch_OSP.
And
don't forget, sorry.
I also want to say that, I think Maesters are supposed to wear the rings around the neck, but congrats on the one on your finger.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But
I had to leave the Citadel a little bit early. I didn't get them around the neck.
You get a pardon.
Yeah. Next week I'll be coming with more props and stuff, so don't count them out just yet. And don't forget, all these lovely people you see on the show, all their information is found in the description below this video, links to their channels, so please subscribe and support them all. Check them out on Twitter to see their most up-to-date information. As for me, I am Cal the Kingslayer over here on the Kingslayer Network. You can also find me on everything, YouTube, Twitch, same name, Kingslayer Network, and I was finally able to change my PSN name to KingslayerNet as well. So I'm the Kingslayer Network all around the world, across the 7 kingdoms, and in Essos, and wherever you want to go, as far as the Shadow of a Shy. And you can thank Janine for the title card as well, for the Night's Watch title cards. So check out all her lovely artwork, and my cousin at Shapes Music for the theme that you're about to hear in a few minutes, or a few seconds, I should say. But we'll be back for all Night's Watch stuff. Check out at Night's Watch Tube on Twitter for up-to-date information about that. And the new poll is up. So the next week's poll is about Jaime Lannister, who is he is the best character in Game of Thrones. But yeah, so check it out for that week. Until next time, guys, remember, I won't say our watch has ended, even though I just said it. That's for the last ever episode. But until then, guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week to talk about, we don't know the name of the episode yet. So see you guys.